So now we're back in recording and in the final mastering stage of this project. We've got our mix, which I'm going to play for you now.
Well, I'm a free man. Yes, I'm a free man. Set loose by the blood of the great I am. And I am on fire, this purpose and this plan. Oh, glory to Jesus, I'm a free man. Get up and sing along. Yesterday's dead and gone.
Okay, so we've got our final mix happening there. It's sounding good. We spoke about some basic mixing and what we needed on the mix chain, as far as EQ was concerned, compression, and basically what a compressor does in a non-technical sense. Compressors have all sorts of things on them. They have basically that each compressor that you have is going to be exactly the same. They're going to have a release, an attack, and a ratio, a threshold, and a makeup gain. Now, none of these things I'm going to explain because there's better videos online and better learning resources that I will have attached on this page for you to learn what a compressor does, to learn the intricacies of mixing and reverb and ping pong delay. So you got on your vocals, you've got a compressor in the first slot, you've got a echo or reverb in the second slot, and a ping pong delay in the third. And we went through all these to get the mix that we have. Now, when you want to make this into a final mix down for a CD, you need to go into your master bus, which these are your channels, and this is your master bus over here to the right. So what I did is I just put I spoke about mastering a little bit earlier in another video, but basically with mastering you might need typically a little bit of studio EQ. So it's all about mastering, is all about little tiny movements which all add up to one better sounding mix. So if it's got a bit of muddiness, you might mix a little bit out of the 2000 region. You might want to put a little bit of air of sparkle, which is around your 10k to 20k area. You might want to add a little bit of bass. It was lacking a little bit of bass and bottom end, so we sort of moved those up a touch. And as I play this, we also put a compressor on here, a very light compressor. It was called Light Mastering Preset. I spoke about presets before. And for like example, the acoustic guitars over here, I looked up this acoustic guitar preset. So I just looked up strummed acoustic guitar, and you look up your preset the same in your mastering bus. You look up Light Master. So I just typed in master, search for it. There's one called a Fat Master, one called a Fat Dance Master, dance for dance music, and a Light Master is just a light mastering. And what that does is it squashes all of these pieces together so that it just sounds more gelled. Then we put a limiter on. A limiter is where you create the loudness, and I'm going to show you this after. I'm going to set this back down to 0 and show you that. And then you do your final mix down, which is your UV22HR. You mix it down to 16 bits so it goes through this rendering engine. So it renders to the 16-bit output that you need for a CD. So basically with this, I'm going to show you one at a time what these do. If we open up this EQ and hit play, I'm going to turn this off, and then I'm going to turn it on so you can hear it, and then I will start adding them.
The old man is crucified with Christ. His name is a strong tower, and there's resurrection power. Jesus bought me with his life. Now I'm a free man. Yes, I'm a free man. Set loose by the blood of the great I am. And I'm on fire, this purpose and this plan. Oh, glory to Jesus, I'm a free man. Singing glory to Jesus, I'm a free man.
So basically what I did here is I turned on the studio EQ, which you don't hear much about, you just hear a little bit of the muddiness is taken out. When you put the compressor on, however, the compressor, you'll hear that it changes. It sort of sounds more gelled together. So I'm going to do that again just so you can hear it.
Every shackle, every curse has been broken by his word. Your prison door is open, just walk out. You're no longer a slave, there is no name above his name. His grace, what a free gift, you gotta shout.
As you can hear, with the compressor, it brings all the lows up of all of these tracks together that are compressed singularly, and it also brings them up and squashes down those peaks once again so that it sounds nice and gelled together. It just makes the whole thing sound and play together really nicely. What the limiter does, over here, if you look on your master stereo out, you got minus 0.8. You don't want that to hit 0 because that's called clipping, and a little red light will appear up here if it clips. So you want to try and stay away from that, especially when the music's playing through this master bus. So what you do is you set this to 0.2 or somewhere around that. Some set up to 0.3, minus 0.3 or minus 0.1 depending, but normally minus 0.2 is what I've always set mine at. And the input, you bring it up to gain at about 7, 5 to 7, somewhere around that, depending on where you want it to reach the output. And it will not go past, the sounds won't go past 0 minus 0.2, which is good to a degree. If you do too much, it will squash the sound out. So basically, you can have a look at these waveforms. See these thin waveforms here? So if you've got a thin waveform about, if you bring it down, this is a thin waveform here. And you want to make that louder. When you bring this input up, it's going to bring a waveform so it sort of sits out more like this. If you bring it out too much, it will squash right up, and you may not even see these peaks. They'll hit the outer rim of these high and low areas, and once a waveform hits that and squashes and sort of peaks it, cuts the top off, it's called clipping. And once it's clipped or hitting that brick wall at 0 minus 0.2, it's going to distort a little bit, and it'll probably squash the life out of your mix, so you don't want it to get that much. There's been a thing lately with mixing down CDs and CD music, especially with rock and heavy metal music, that it squashes the life out of them, and you want to keep it as musical as you can, so you don't want to go too overboard with this input gain thing. So basically a limiter is like a compressor, except it just puts the input gain up and it makes a brick wall at the top. So if you're looking at this compressor, if this was a limiter, here's your limiter, there's your top part area right there, it won't go past there, and there's your input where it brings it up to, and here's your makeup gain, which is this input knob here. So basically it's just turning this makeup gain up to get it to the level of out where it's going to be substantial and at radio level for a CD, and then you can play it and it sounds like it's produced. This is a very basic rundown of what mastering is. There's much more to mastering, as you're going to find out. I'm just giving you a little chain of things that you can use to bring the levels up, EQ it a little bit as a whole song, and mastering is very much about thinking about if you've got a CD of songs, 10 songs or 12 songs for an album, you want to make them all very similar as far as their qualities of acoustics go with their EQing. So it might be that one song, the vocals aren't as warm in one track, so you might do a little bit around this 2 to 5K region, trying to warm it up a bit, or cutting around it to try and get some muddiness to bring the vocals out. It's always better to cut with EQs and to try and boost, unless you really want to get a certain sound or warm it up a little bit. But be careful not to do big, real big cuts or boosts, because you only want, over here to the left, you've got your minus 30 dB to plus 30. You'd probably normally wouldn't go past plus or minus 3 in mastering. They're very tiny little boosts, and they all add up to an overall good, hopefully a good sound for the overall master, and make everything sound in comparison with each other. But anyway, I hope this has helped you out a little bit, and I'm going to leave it here, and we will do some more videos in other articles.